What the hell is going on in here?
In a world where hackers are working day and night to infiltrate your network, Jay and Penny are here to talk about it. Welcome to the Order of the Cipher.
So Penny, there is one woman in particular that just has a high profile and is responsible for really accomplishing a tremendous amount, and that is Gwen Shotwell of SpaceX. And so I took a little time to look into Gwen's background.
You should tell me all about her. I'm excited to hear this.
She was a volleyball player and had the classic nerds and geeks or, kind of on the outs, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But had this transformative moment when she went to this event and there was a panel of women that one was a mechanical engineer and the other two were different kinds of engineers. And the fashion on the mechanical engineer was captivating to her. And so that was kind of the gateway that let Gwen really...
So she's like, that woman is smart and well-dressed.
Exactly.
I like that.
And she heard this woman talk and she basically she describes it as, I just fell in love, the whole thing. Like you can be smart and glamorous and up on stage and doing cool stuff. And that set her off in this trajectory.
The whole package.
Yep.
Cool.
So she ends up out in L.A., El Segundo area, which has a lot of aerospace. SpaceX is based just south of El Segundo today. She was working for a small rocket producer and in the business development, which is like sales.
Right.
So she's in business development, which is partnerships for a company. You're kind of selling your company to other companies in the sense of, hey, why don't you partner up with us? So it's definitely a blend.
We want to work with you and you want to work with us.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. So it's got marketing and sales and relationships and you got to, pay attention to the numbers. You got to know where the opportunity is and how this is going to benefit the company and benefit the other person. And she just really thrived in that position. So a guy named Han Koenigsmann that she used to work with had a relationship with Elon, and he said, Gwen, why don't you come meet this guy? So she does and realizes that everything that Elon is talking about with the problems in the space industry and how they can be solved and how he is setting out to solve them and change things, she completely agreed with, she agreed with.
And was already aware of them. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what it sounds like.
And
she's like, oh, I've encountered the same thing.
Yeah. So she was really reluctant.
Together.
She went back and forth and finally realized, okay, I'm in this industry. I'm going to stay here. I like it. I'm good at it. This is where I'm going to be. Do I want to be with a company that's just working completely within the confines that's stuck and not going to change? Or do I want to work with someone that really wants to change things up and I know that I can add things? So she decided to join the team. She went into business development, so just a total sideways move into a different company.
Right.
And now has become the COO and president. So she is the day-to-day operations, everything about customer relationship. Yep, boots on the ground. Are the customers happy? Do we have good relationships with suppliers? Are we hiring the right people that we need to move the company forward? That all falls under her. And she describes it as she gets everything settled, and just before she can just have a big sigh and kind of just go, okay, I'll relax now, Elon comes along and says,
you got this new thing.
Yeah, here's what we're going to do next. She goes, okay, let's figure this out. So
ready to go. Right on.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
I think so. she's definitely, I mean, doing an amazing job because SpaceX is doing an amazing job. And it's not, it's not the visionary that makes the trains run on time.
It's true.
So
Takes a team.
yes, and she's leading the team.
Right on.
There's Gwen.
There's Gwen. She sounds amazing. And, she's into space things, which is very similar to my woman in tech.
Oh, yeah?
Who is Adriana Ocampo.
Oh,
She is a planetary geologist
great.
and the NASA Science Program Manager.
Okay. And what is
Right?
she doing over at NASA?
Well, so when she was young, she was always into space. And her family immigrated from Argentina to the United States when she was 14. So during high school and college, she worked for the NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory.
That's young.
That is young. She's been involved in several space missions to different planets, Mars,
Really?
Venus, Jupiter, and Pluto. She is an expert in remote sensing, which is not like ghosts or anything like that. It is the technology that's used to view the surface terrain for planets, including Earth, and all of those that she's been part of the science missions for.
Wow.
So one of the things that she is well known for is, you've heard of the meteor that hit the Earth and wiped out the dinosaurs,
That was like a few weeks ago. Right.
right? Just a couple. So in the 1980s, another scientist found the crater and determined that it was probably a meteorite strike, and that was what had eliminated the dinosaurs and probably 50 or 60% of other species on Earth at the time. And it was based solely on traces of iridium, which is specific to asteroids and meteors.
Okay.
In the 90s, Ms. Ocampo was doing her remote sensing technology looking for water sources on the Yucatan Peninsula and noticed sinkholes around the crater. She deduced that that was supporting evidence for the extinction event and led 6 science expeditions to the location and eventually found also ejecta. It's a formation based on rocks hitting and then spewing out, ejecta.
Oh,
This is important because Mars has very similar formations: crater, sinkhole, ejecta. So this gives us not only information about our history and our past, but also inference for what might possibly have happened on Mars.
interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In 2002, Discover magazine named her one of the top 50 important women scientists, and she has an asteroid named after her.
Wow. Congratulations.
Right. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Her name is Adriana Ocampo.
Congrats, Adriana. Well done.
The dark side.
So I read an article recently, Jay, about cheating the cheaters.
Oh, cheating the cheat. Like, was that TV show where if you catch a cheater to catch a cheater, something like that?
Something like that. However, it turns out that now malicious actors are going after game players. They are inserting malware into code that game players use to download and get mods or cheats for their games.
Okay, so I have a game. I want to get a cheat for it so I can get,
Or a mod. You want your character to wear, I don't know, different clothes, or you want to have something else that opens up, or faster, better, something in your gameplay.
So I go out on the internet, I search for this. I'm going to download some app, basically. It's going to add on to my game.
Yeah, you're
And-
going to
and it's got
download
some
some
malware
code
in it.
that'll open up this mod for you in your game.
Yeah.
And it's riddled with malware.
Little
now.
do I know.
Little do you know. So this malware is made with Visual Basic 6 shellcode and process injection techniques.
Wow.
Which apparently makes it very difficult to review, according to the article that I read. But what they do know about it is that it'll install a RAT, which is a remote access Trojan.
Oh.
And these can exfiltrate data They can do key logging. They can record screenshots and audio, and they can even interact with the victim.
They own your machine now.
They own your machine.
Wow.
Now, this has been going on for a while, right? This is not new. However, in the world we live in now, more and more people work from home, and the line between private computer usage and work computer usage is blurred.
Don't I know it?
So this is a huge risk for enterprises and corporations
Yeah.
having their work equipment compromised based on a little download.
Yeah.
It looks legit.
Yeah. It's just going to help me with a game. What's the harm?
What's the harm? It's all a game until it's not.
Ooh. The government's got it, Penny. They're on the job. No need to fear.
They are on it.
Okay. So
All
the Biden administration, to try to address the rash of hackings and these epic breaches, especially from international actors, especially when the software is used by the government itself. They want there to be investigation and prosecution for the people that are responsible for those incidents.
Don't we all?
Don't we all?
Yes.
Well, it turned out that there were some issues. You know, the government follows the letter of the law, right? If you've got this agency and they can only do X, Y, Z, that's all they do.
As they should.
And sometimes they don't do that.
Red tape.
The problem that the federal government was having when these big incidents like SolarWinds, a recent one that was, international and involved a lot of agencies in the federal government that were running that software,
Right.
is that who is responsible for the investigation and who's responsible for the prosecution and who's responsible to society to make changes so that we can prevent these things from happening. There just has not seemed to be accountability or prevention. So the FBI, for example, deeply involved, right? They have to, they investigate and they prosecute, but they don't make any recommendations to anyone about what to do differently next time.
Oh, that's fair. They don't.
There's a group within the Department of Homeland Security called the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, which definitely makes recommendations, but they have no investigative power. They're not authorized to step into a situation.
So, like, the FBI investigates and prosecutes, but CISA makes recommendations?
Yes, but they're not there alongside the FBI.
Throughout their process.
Yes, so that they're able to see the total picture, the whole picture, and make that recommendation.
So it seems very disjointed.
Yeah, it is. So the Biden administration released an executive order, or signed an executive order that creates it puts in motion the creation of an agency. It's not created yet, or a department within an agency that has that blend of power. And so the idea is it's like the National Transportation Safety Board. So think of a plane that crashes. What happens after a plane crashes? We want to go get the black box. Where's the black box?
Where's the black box?
You ever seen one of those? They're actually orange.
Oh.
Yeah. And they record on, they used to record on tape. Now, of course, they record on digital media. And most of this box is designed to protect this little memory card, basically.
Right, from EMPs or shocks or fire,
Yeah.
all of that.
I remember when I first saw that, it looked like a memory stick from a computer, back in the day when they were like, maybe 5 inches long and 1 inch. Yeah. It was about that size. But now, it could be incredibly small.
Yeah. Storage is so small and cheap now.
I've got a USB-C flash drive that's 256 gigs. It is no bigger than the USB-C connector. It is the connector and nothing else.
Wow. Wow. So these little black boxes have this itty bitty technology inside that's like bubble wrapped within an inch of its life.
Yeah. It's basically, it's metal casing, bubble wrap, and then Jay's tiny little flash drive in the middle of it. That's all you need.
That's it.
So that's the idea, that this agency or department can swoop in, freeze all the activity, grab all the investigative data, start tearing it apart, push the intelligence that they get about people. They can push that over to the FBI. This means the FBI can do a little bit less work. They've got some help on the case here. And then this agency can say to companies, this is what you need to do to prevent this from happening again in the future.
Nice. Will any of what they determine become like laws for corporations and businesses? Or are they just going to be recommendations?
I think they left this intentionally vague because...
See where it goes and then how it'll best benefit?
Yeah, because you've got like the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that, people argued they were given too much power, and some people think they weren't given enough power, and I think they want to prevent that. They really want this to be an effective, clear, easy to agree on set of standards.
And it is time for something like this with the amount of security breaches and things that are happening in today's wired world. It's time for something like this.
It is. We have to have this all packaged in one. They got to be able to act, very quickly. And the way that they're going to give teeth to their recommendations is that if you're selling software or services to the federal government, you must follow the recommendations from this organization. So, getting kind of an end run around the idea of we don't want government telling private enterprise what to do. Fine, we're going to have this tell everyone in the government what to do.
But the people that do business with us have to do this.
Yes.
Fair.
Got to get your password policies and system design and architecture. They expect this group will actually weigh in on that kind of stuff. So I think, could be a huge benefit.
I hope they populate it with a bunch of smart people.
Yeah.
Really smart people.
And it could end up benefiting cloud providers because, track record will win out, and people that are trying to do a bunch of stuff on premise, they're going to have to recognize that, the cloud's the future. So
it is the future.
Yeah.
That's where everything's going.
So there we go. Problem solved.
Problem solved.